Ridiculous Crime is a production of iHeartRadio.
Zaron.
Yes, Elizabeth.
Zaron, how are you?
Oh, my goodness. I've been waiting for you.
You feeling good? You feeling strong?
Not really. I was late today.
Oh.
But
You feeling good?
I am feeling good. I am feeling strong.
Yeah.
What about you? You feeling strong? You feeling good? No.
I feel good.
Just not strong.
No.
Well, maybe get back in the gym or do some push-ups, body weight exercises.
That's true.
Or are you talking more like emotionally?
I think just across the board. I'm feeling fragile.
Fragile, really?
It's Italian.
Yeah, that's tough.
Anyway, you know what's ridiculous?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked.
Me too.
John Gruden.
Okay.
Yeah, you could say, I could just say period, but
former
Raiders coach of not your Raiders, but the Oakland, now Las Vegas Raiders. Dave's producer D's Raiders, good call.
Loves them.
And then also the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as well.
Sure.
Now, he wants to share the story about Peyton Manning.
Okay.
42 blue, right?
Sure, 42 blue.
Now, he was known to call a lot of audibles at the line, right? So he's the quarterback. He's sitting there, and he would call an audible. He's like, Omaha, Omaha, right?
Oh, right.
But he didn't only just say Omaha when he called audibles. According to John Gruden, who said this story, he would often do research on the opposing players, and he'd find out their wives' names, their girlfriends' names, whatever would work to get in their heads. And so he'd get up there and be like, Gwendolyn. And someone's like, what the? Talking about my wife?
Cold-blooded, right? And I love it.
I thought you would. Someone would be like, hey, man, that's my wife, brother. So people get real mad and Peyton would just kind of wink and then hike the ball. So there you go. I thought that was kind of ridiculous.
I love that.
Psychological warfare.
It beats 42 blue.
Right?
Yeah, I love that. And I think he should have done street addresses, children's names.
SAT scores.
Yeah, that was good. But do you want to know what else is ridiculous?
Sure.
Hiding behind dolls.
What?
I don't know. This is Ridiculous Crime, a podcast about absurd and outrageous capers, heists, and cons. It's always 99% murder-free and 100% ridiculous.
You damn right.
You know that I love puzzles.
Yeah, you definitely you do.
I love codes.
Yeah.
I'm big on cryptograms. There's one in the San Francisco Chronicle called CryptoQuip that I always used to play.
Uh-huh.
It was for a while there was the only reason I still had my subscription. But I like puzzles like that, basically all of the New York Times games.
Yes.
They relax me.
I've seen you play those in the HQ.
They challenge me, and they also help me fight the crazy brain fog that I've developed.
Oh, I do that for Jeopardy to keep the synapses connecting. Yeah, you got
to keep sharp, baby. I may not be able to remember the word that I want to use during the day, but every morning as I lie in bed, I am sharp as a tack at Wordle, connections, strands, pips, and spelling bee.
Whoa, you do a bunch.
I have to play them in that order.
Wow.
Yeah.
You have to play them in a certain order.
I have to. Anyway, codes. So there's a British TV show, Bletchley Circle, that I highly recommend.
Yeah.
It's about the World War II codebreakers working the Enigma machine.
To break the Nazi code.
Yeah, and a bunch of gals, lady codebreakers. This lady host likes lady codebreakers. I will never get over being called the lady host, which has happened twice now.
Huh. I've never been called the gentleman host, so I can see why.
In these instances, I think they were both reviews. They give your name, Zaron, and the lady host.
Oh, really? I didn't even notice that.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I have a name, and it's Regina Corn Tower.
Yeah, respect. Put some respect on her name.
Anyway, codes. So this is what I plan to babble at you about today.
Please.
A woman who used codes and a woman who broke them and how they intersect.
Oh, I can see that. But that's like a unity of opposites.
Right? So I'm going to start with this woman named Velvalee Dickinson.
Wait, I'm going to need to hear that again.
I know, so am I. I got to say it again. Velvalee Malvina Dickinson.
That's amazing.
What a name, Velvalee.
Mama put her foot in it.
She was born Velvalee Blucher.
Wow.
In Sacramento, California.
Oh, whoa.
Sacramento.
NorCal, raise up.
A Sacramento kid in 1893. That was a great time for Sacramento. I actually love that place. I love Sacramento.
That is true. You and Joan Didion both.
That's right. Velvalee, bright woman, super smart. Her parents sent her off to a girls' prep school in Oakland called Snell Seminary.
Went to Oakland too.
Yeah, exactly. It's basically me.
I know.
But not. Okay, so this place, Snell Seminary, was known as like one of the best, most fashionable schools for girls on the West Coast.
Okay.
And from there, she went to Stanford. And she walked in graduation in 1918, but she didn't get her degree.
Okay.
Because she hadn't returned a bunch of library books.
Yes. Now she's
like
my
a
people.
lot of them were like these Russian books. They're all these kind of strange, like obscure.
Like they only had one copy of it.
It wasn't until 1937 that she was able to get it all settled out and get her official like degree and diploma.
Damn.
Yeah.
So like 19 years it took before.
Yes.
So she got the right to vote and then had to wait another decade and a half.
Correct. She's like, whatever. So a fun fact, her younger brother also went to Stanford, just 2 years behind her. And then from there, he went to Harvard Law. And I was thinking that she must have come from like a posh Sacramento family, either like agriculture or mining. But I found her dad's obituary, and it seems he worked at the rail yard his whole life.
Huh. So kind of like one of those, like I saved up to get my kids
He must
ahead.
have scrimped and saved and like sent his kids off to super nice places. Always want the next generation to do better.
Yeah.
Don't want to hog the resources. So from Stanford, Velvalee, she got a gig in a bank.
Okay.
And then she got a job at the California Fruit Growers Association.
But actually a very powerful association, very big business. Yeah.
She was a bookkeeper there. She was so good at her job, very personable. And then she got another job at a produce brokerage firm, and she worked there from 1928 to 1935. And so while she was there, she handled a lot of the Japanese accounts, and she got to know the Japanese community in San Francisco.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so California has always had a strong trading and cultural partner in Japan, particularly in the Bay Area.
Yes.
There were a lot of farms, vineyards, and orchards owned by Japanese families in the Central Valley.
Rice farming, too. They loved it.
Yeah, and when Executive Order 9066 was signed, sending anyone on the West Coast of Japanese descent, citizen or not, to live in internment camps in the desert, most of these farms went dark.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
And then most were seized by the government for delinquent taxes, or they got taken over by squatters or just destroyed.
A lot of squatters.
Not all, though. Yeah. I really have to recommend and urge you read the Smithsonian Magazine article called During World War II, This Farmer Risked Everything to Help His Japanese American Neighbors. It's a long title. By Jake Whitney. Like, honestly, I want everyone to read this article. It's about a man named Bob Fletcher, who is a UC Davis alum.
Hey, raise up.
Look at this. And I promise you'll get emotional reading it. It lays out what that time was like for farming families. And it's important to know what happened. And it's a good reminder of what happens when people decide to do the right thing, even if it's not the easy thing.
Yes. Thank you for saying that.
Yes. So I want to believe that Velvalee at least had that opportunity to do the right thing. But I can tell you she did not take it if it was indeed on offer. So
Velvalee,
she's dealing with all of these kind of families, these farming families, and the buyers and people in Japan. So the produce brokerage business where she worked was owned by this guy Lee Dickinson, and he would soon become her third husband.
Nice.
Yeah, she'd already had two goes around.
Finicky.
Yeah. And so because of all their Japanese clients, Velvalee and her husband were really active in the Japan America Society in San Francisco.
Okay.
So she joined the Japan American Society in 1931, and she was a member until 1935 when she couldn't afford the dues.
Right, because she changed jobs.
Correct.
Okay.
So luckily, she had friends at the Japanese consulate in San Francisco, and an attaché at the consulate paid her dues from 1936 onward.
Well, that's dope.
Yeah. So she went to a lot of parties at the consulate, and it was there that she would like rub shoulders with Japanese diplomats and high-level government officials, members of the Japanese Navy. And then she in turn threw parties at her house and invited the consulate crowd over.
Okay.
And then it all came to a stop. Lee Dickinson's produce brokerage company went under in 1937.
Oh.
So the couple picked up stakes and moved to New York City.
Okay.
And Velvalee got a job as a sales clerk in Bloomingdale's doll department. And this would prove to be a very pivotal moment for her.
Going into the doll business.
Yeah, she's got a friend in the doll business. Costume dolls were a big deal then.
All right.
It was all the rage. It was the Labubus.
So when you mean costume, you mean those dolls are like the fancy dolls where you put on the outfits?
You put on a little outfit.
You put them on like a shelf?
Yes.
Okay.
And so there were like porcelain dolls with little fine outfits.
Okay, that's
and
what
you
I'm
could
picturing.
Change their clothes, but in a discreet manner.
Yeah, what I think of as
Tastefully.
haunted dolls.
Very much so. So there were local clubs and like specialty dealers and then all these avid hobbyists who just collect.
And then also the doll making, the dressmakers for the dolls.
Right. Oh,
making
yeah,
little
totally.
Tiny,
and in that circle, you could count Velvalee among this group.
Oh, right.
She was up in there. So
with a name like Velvalee Malvina, I mean, how do you not get into doll making?
She got bigger in the doll scene, and she eventually opened her own doll shop right across the street from her house.
Okay.
And she got mentions in the New York Times. She displayed her dolls at antique shows, and she built up this customer base through word of mouth. She put ads in magazines like House and Garden, and then she had all this written correspondence. Like she and all these doll folks would write to each other.
Right.
So the December 1939 Vogue issue put one of her dolls in their buying guide. Quote, "In the doll collection of Velvalee Dickinson, there are two wonderfully aromatic kinds of dolls. One species is made of cedar wood, cleverly carved and jointed by Tennessee mountaineers. You can have man or woman, but for once, we liked the woman best. Don't report us to the New Yorker if we say that the woman looks chic in her black and white gingham costume. She does. Around $6 each doll."
This is wild.
I love that they call them
normally
a species is made of cedar wood. What a species of doll.
And normally we like the male dolls better than the female dolls.
I was like, what?
I did not see that coming.
I had no idea.
I thought only like manic, like like Charlie McCarthy style, like
right. No, apparently like
ventriloquist dolls are going to be guys.
Get an aromatic doll.
Yeah, one that's got a good little aroma to it.
So yeah, one of her best customers was a young Eunice Kennedy.
Whoa.
Yeah, JFK's sister.
Yeah.
Someone gave her a Dominican nun doll from Velvalee's shop as a gift, and she was like hooked. She's like, I need more dolls.
That's a hell of a sentence. A Dominican nun doll from Velvalee Dickinson.
I know. It's like, have you had a stroke? So in New York, Velvalee, she hooked back up with the Japanese community there.
Okay.
So she went to the Nippon Club and the Japan Institute. She buddied up to the Japanese Consul General. She met with Ichiro Yokoyama, who was the Japanese naval attaché from Washington, D.C.
Okay.
That's all a little weird, but maybe that's just me.
She likes the culture.
She does. So, and she lived large. She wore gorgeous clothes and was like this total audiophile. She bought records like crazy.
Huh.
And if she would, whatever it came out, she wanted it. And she'd send the maid down to get it. And then the maid, if she listened to it, didn't like it, she'd make the maid return it. She's like, please don't keep sending me back there to return these.
Yeah, you sent me back yesterday with the new Jack Teagarden, and now they're like mad at me.
I'm tired of this. She also went back and forth to California a lot.
Okay.
Was the doll business that profitable?
I mean, I'm kind of like projecting from now back then, and I just don't know if it holds
perhaps, up. But she appeared to be getting cash on the side. So according to Smithsonian Magazine, this article by David Sears, quote, a November 26, 1941 visit to 718 Madison by a, quote, well-dressed Japanese may have held the key to Velvalee's suspect prosperity. As recounted in a 1944 edition of St. Louis Sunday Morning, the Japanese visitor, quote, darted through the door and handed a small, compact bundle to the proprietor. I may not be able to come again, he said. The proprietor replied that they might meet again, perhaps in Honolulu. No, no, the Japanese exclaimed. Not Honolulu. Yikes.
I know enough of history to know what's going on.
Oh, yikes. So then came the letters.
Yes.
So between January and June of 1942, a series of suspicious letters were sent to Argentina.
So January 42, so after December of 41 is what you're saying. Okay. Recent.
But don't go to Honolulu, whatever you do.
Yeah.
So these letters to Argentina, they caught the eye of the U.S. government. And, they were concerned about Argentina's like dabbling in fascism.
Its connections to the fascist Europeans.
Correct. So the letters, they were all addressed to Senora Inés López de Molinari in Buenos Aires.
Okay.
And one was sent from Seattle. Another from San Francisco, New York, Portland, Oregon, and then another from Oakland, California. None of them made it to Senora Inés López de Molinari.
Because?
Return to sender on each one.
Oh.
Yeah. And the women who sent the letters, well, when they were interviewed by the FBI, they swore they hadn't sent them and had no idea who Senora Inés López de Molinari was or what the letters could be about. The FBI found out because these women were getting these letters returned to them. They all said they'd open them up and their signatures were on the letters.
The women who did not send the letters.
And they're like, I didn't send this, but I signed it. They said the signatures on the letters looked like theirs.
Oh,
and
wow.
that the letters contained correct information about their personal lives.
That would be freaky.
And their interest in dolls. So the letter...
Now a little less freaky, but just strange.
The letter from Portland talked about a, quote, wonderful doll hospital.
The doll hospital? Oh, right, when you fix the dolls.
And said the writer had left her 3, quote, old English dolls for repairs. The letter also talked about fishnets and balloons. The letter sent from New York was supposed to be penned by a woman from Springfield, Illinois, talked about dolls and had the words, destroyed your... like your in all caps. And further in the same sentence talked about a Mr. Shaw who was sick but would be back to work soon. And then the letter also talked about her sick nephew with a, quote, malignant tumor on the brain. And the supposed writer did have a nephew with a mortal brain issue.
Really?
But she wasn't even in New York when the letter was mailed. So she turned it over to local postal authorities who then passed it on to the FBI. And in turn, each of these women did the same thing. They get this letter. They're like, oh, what is this? Postal authorities, FBI.
Okay.
In another letter, the writer said that she was sending a doll in a, quote, hula skirt to a doll hospital in Seattle. Let me read you the letter. My most gracious friend, please forgive my delay in writing to thank you for your kindness in sending my family the beautiful Christmas gifts. The girls were especially pleased. I have been so very busy these days. This is the first time I've been over to Seattle for weeks. I came over today to meet my son, who's here from Portland on business, and to get my little granddaughter's doll repaired. I must tell you this amusing story. The wife of an important business associate gave her an old German bisque doll dressed in a hula grass skirt. It is a cheap hoard thing. I do not like it, and I wish we did not have to have it about. Well, I broke this awful doll last month. Now the person who gave the doll is coming to visit us very soon. I walked all over Seattle to get someone to repair it. No one at home could or would try the task. Now I expect all the damages to be repaired by the first week in February. In the meanwhile, I hope and pray the important gentleman's wife will not come to visit us until after that date. I do hope you can read my typing. I'm trying to learn so I can be able to type records for the Red Cross. Please accept love and remembrances.
I got to disagree. I don't find that a very amusing story.
No, not in the least. No. And so like the Oakland letter, which was purportedly penned by a lady from Colorado Springs, talked about 7 small dolls that she was going to try to make look as if they were, quote, 7 real Chinese dolls, making up a family consisting of a father, grandmother, grandfather, mother, and 3 kids. This was big to the FBI because several warships had come into San Francisco Bay for repairs just before the letter was written and mailed. So the supposed author of that letter not only gave the letter to the FBI, she also pointed them in the direction of Velvalee Dickinson.
Really?
She thought about it and she realized, Velvalee probably used my information to get back at me. Because the woman had purchased dolls from Velvalee but couldn't pay for them right away. Well, I mean, you shouldn't be buying dolls then, but aside. I mean, it's like not...
Live within your doll means.
Right. Anyway, so then the FBI asked the other women who got the return letters, did you know Velvalee? Do you think, she could be the one behind them? And they all were like, yeah, she has documents with my signatures on them. And we've all written letters back and forth about dolls, but also like chatted about, idle chit chat about our lives.
Sorry, I just love the
dolls.
Doll letter correspondence.
And at least 2 of them had mixed it up with Velvalee about prices or payments for dolls.
Okay.
So now the FBI, they set their sights on Velvalee. Let's stop here for a bit. I have to go brush the hair of all the members of my creepy doll collection. I have them arranged on a daybed in the guest bedroom, their sleepy eyes and rosy cheeks staring out at me in dusty contempt.
I just want to know where you got all those Def Leppard dolls.
It's very rare at Velvalee's estate. Zaron.
Yo, Elizabeth.
Hi.
I'm sorry. I'm still thinking about that one-armed Def Leppard drummer doll that you have. It's incredible.
It's a keepsake.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I ordered it on late night TV. It's a beautiful thing. Velvalee.
Yes.
Velvalee. It was hard not to type Velveeta as I was putting together this outline. Anyway, the FBI.
What? By the way, like names like that. I mean, the poetry of that name, Velvalee, and then Malvina. Also, I mean,
I know some really beautiful old names like that, and they just fall out. I mean, Velvalee it's interesting.
I like it. I like it a lot.
It's mellifluous.
Yeah, double V's.
Velvalee.
Yeah, you don't really. Yeah, exactly. It has like a poetry to it.
Now, is in like 100 years' time, are people going to go back and be like, Brackenzie McKaylee with the Leigh on everything? Are they going to be like, it was so beautiful. Why don't people use that?
Who knows? Because they're all named like Deltron 3000.
Yes. That's the circle of life.
Sorry, Del.
They're all named
apologies to
Velveeta.
the funky Homo sapien.
So, okay, FBI.
Yes.
People were pointing to Velvalee when it came to the letters, so the FBI turned to its lab for confirmation.
Okay.
So the lab looked at all 5 letters, and they confirmed that the signatures on the letters were fake. They were good forgeries, but forgeries nonetheless.
Okay.
And then the experts determined that they were prepared from original signatures in the possession of the forger. And then they also determined that the typewriter for each letter was different.
Oh.
However, they figured that it was the same person typing each letter based on the typing characteristics.
How could they sense
that? Well,
that?
I'm guessing that it's something like if the E's are struck especially hard or like certain spacing, that would be my guess.
I mean, I know how you can pick which typewriter it is because of the position of the letters. Like, the way typewriters work, the letters are not hitting the same spot or the same depth into the paper.
Well, if you do maybe they do a reverse indent and that's kind of odd and they do it in each one. Yeah, those little kind of things.
But I mean, I was wondering how they would know it's the same typist. That's bizarre.
I know. So, I think that's what I'm saying. I think if you hit certain keys really hard.
Sure.
That it's going to always bleed through. Like
so it's
when
almost
you
like
type
a music
hard,
note. Like when you play piano, some people play the same notes louder and you go, oh, I know who that is.
Yeah, exactly.
Heavy-handed Bob.
Right. They had to decode these letters. I mean, they weren't ciphers, but the language is in code. So enter Elizabeth Smith Friedman.
Okay, Elizabeth Smith Friedman.
But she spells her name Elizebeth. Ooh, special. So Elizabeth Smith Friedman, she is one of the most important yet long overlooked figures in American intelligence history.
Now, just out of curiosity, the last name Friedman is often a Black American's name. Is she a Black woman?
Friedman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not Freed.
Yeah, I was just going to be really surprised if we got a Black codebreaker.
That would be, that'd be like,
well,
that's why we've never heard of her. Yeah. But that's what, Friedman, Friedman.
Okay.
So she was born in 1892 in Huntington, Indiana, and she was the youngest of 9 children in a Quaker family. And her dad was a farmer, strict disciplinarian. Her mom was a school teacher who just really imbued in all the kids this love of learning, and you've got to just pursue as much education as possible.
Respect to that.
Yeah. So she went to Hillsdale College in Michigan. She graduated in 1915. She had a major in English literature, but she also had this strong background in languages and classical studies.
Okay.
And she was fascinated by language structure and patterns, especially those in the works of Shakespeare. And so in 1916, a year after graduating, she visited Chicago, and it was there that she met George Fabian. And he was this super rich textile magnate and crazy eccentric. And he rolled around in this limo. He spent money like it was nothing. He ran this private research facility called Riverbank Laboratories.
Okay.
And that was located in Geneva, Illinois. And he was fascinated with the theory that Francis Bacon had secretly authored all of Shakespeare's plays.
Oh, right. Yes.
And so he has all this money. That's his big hobby, this interest. So he starts an institute, the Riverbank Laboratories.
We need more of that type of energy.
Right. And so he chats with Elizabeth, and he offered her a job on the spot to assist in finding hidden ciphers in Shakespearean texts that might prove this claim.
That's so much fun.
And she's like, yeah, I'll take it. What a job offer.
For her
from this
in
weirdo?
particular? Yeah.
And it's everything she loves. So at Riverbank, she met William F. Friedman, a geneticist who was also working for Fabian. The two collaborated on code-breaking techniques, and then they also fell in love.
Oh, that's sweet.
And they got married in 1917. So this whole Shakespeare-Bacon thing was total pseudoscience, obviously. But in the course of establishing Riverbank, it became the first American facility dedicated to cryptoanalysis.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So during World War I, it was one of the few places in the U.S. that was equipped to handle military code breaking for the government.
That's so crazy. It goes from Sir Francis Bacon, Shakespeare, to like, for the war effort.
Exactly. Now, both Elizabeth and William, they trained military officers, and they broke enemy codes on behalf of the Army Signal Corps.
Okay.
During World War I, the Freedmans together, they worked to decipher coded messages between German agents and their American contacts. And they demonstrated that code breaking could be this like rigorous scientific discipline, not just like guesswork and intuition. They developed early methods of frequency analysis, statistical approaches to like substitution ciphers, and then they laid the groundwork basically for modern cryptology. These two. Their reports became foundational materials for all of like the crypto units to come.
Okay.
In the 1920s, Elizabeth started working independently from her husband. She joined the U.S. Coast Guard, and that was to combat rum running and smuggling during Prohibition.
Oh, and they use codes too.
Oh, yeah. So when
like
Prohibition...
signals and with the lights and stuff?
Yeah, and when it began... Well, it goes even further than that. Prohibition starts in 1920 under the Volstead Act. Bootlegging and maritime smuggling surged across U.S. coastlines, as we've discussed here before.
Yeah.
So the Coast Guard suddenly found itself responsible for intercepting thousands of these liquor-laden ships, but also radio communications to coordinate movements and evade capture.
Okay, meeting off to unload their cargo in the open ocean.
Correct.
I got
And the agency had no code breakers. So in 1925, Elizabeth was asked to examine intercepted radio messages that were suspected of containing criminal codes. And she quickly recognized, okay, these are just complex substitution and transposition ciphers, well beyond the skills of most law enforcement agents, but for her, it's a cakewalk. So she was soon formally hired as a special cryptanalyst for the U.S. Coast Guard. And her team received hundreds of intercepted radio logs every single week. And so they sat there with like doing everything by hand, pencil, paper, sitting by lamplight. She decrypted over 12,000 messages in less than a decade.
Wow.
Just constant churning them out. And her analysis exposed like this huge international structure of all these smuggling cartels, and then also brought in like the use of shell companies, false manifests, coded invoices. So she was able to crack codes beyond just like meet me at this coordinate at this time. It was like further communications about who was higher up.
And like Capone's bookkeeper style. Where it's
And she discovered that criminal groups oftentimes reused encryption keys or followed like these predictable linguistic habits. And that's how she got her entry point for decryption. She did wind up, she worked on Capone stuff. She worked on all,
yeah, that's a very famous example of like a coded record keeping, coded communication.
Right.
And he was very smart and cunning, so it was like, it would probably be a bit fun challenge for someone like her.
She was on it. There was the I'm Alone case in 1931. This was a Canadian vessel accused of running alcohol, and it got sunk by the Coast Guard in the Gulf of Mexico. And
wow. I was thinking the other way. It was going to be like up by Detroit.
Yeah, no. Her cryptanalysis proved the ship's Canadian registry was fraudulent and that it was operating under American ownership. And so that saved us from like crazy diplomatic backlash.
Of course. Nice.
She also helped dismantle smuggling rings linked to, like I said, organized crime families, Chicago, New York. Her messages connected radio operators directly to the financial backers. In all of these cases. So Prohibition gets repealed. She continues doing work for the Treasury Department and the Customs Service. She tracked narcotics smuggling, currency fraud, illegal immigration networks. She had this like little small office still at the Coast Guard, but it became the center of what would evolve into permanent cryptanalytic branch within U.S. law enforcement.
Okay.
All comes out of the Coast Guard. So by the early 30s, she had testified as an expert in like all these federal trials against smugglers. Anytime they brought her in, her testimony was so decisive that defense attorneys sometimes would find out she was going to testify and like be like, you got to plead out.
Take the deal.
Yeah, don't. If we go to court, like you're toast.
You're going to get embarrassed.
Yeah.
The headlines alone.
Yeah, and she was known for how smart, brilliant she was. She was yet so modest.
Yeah.
And she had this like crazy deep respect from law enforcement. But no one in the public knew who she was.
And which is ironic because she's really good at unmasking people.
Right.
You know, like.
Yeah. And so, and the thing is a lot of people didn't know because her work was classified. So it's like you can't talk about it.
Of course. And also, it's probably for her, like her, her life interest if people don't know who she is, because then these mobsters can't just go and find her.
And I don't know how long it extends out, because I know, like in the UK with all the Bletchley folks, it was decades later that they couldn't even say where they worked.
It was like to the 70s.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
They couldn't discuss it. And so, you couldn't even say that you worked there. You just had to be vague or whatever, or have a cover. So when World War II broke out in Europe, the U.S. Coast Guard was transferred to Navy Authority.
Right.
And Elizabeth, she started receiving intercepted message from the Office of Naval Intelligence, ONI, and the FBI concerning espionage in the Western Hemisphere.
Okay.
That's where she got assigned. So the Germany's military intelligence and state telegraph service were using encrypted shortwave radio to communicate with German agents in Latin America. And these spies, they were gathering all this information about like shipping, coastal defenses, military movements, and all that stuff that like Berlin wanted it for submarine warfare.
Right.
Yeah, so Elizabeth's unit was tasked with breaking Axis ciphers and identifying Nazi spy networks in countries like Brazil, Chile, Argentina.
Not Mexico.
No, but this is where she intersects back with Velvalee. And we're going to come back to Velvalee in a second, but I want to keep up with Elizabeth here.
Please.
So the German network in South America was coordinated through this really complex system of all these ciphered messages, radio relays, and the main German agent in the region was Johannes Siegfried Becker, who was known as Sargo. Sargo. He oversaw intelligence cells in 15 different countries.
That sounds like something you buy from IKEA.
Sargo. Or it's like a sandwich spread in another country.
Oh, yeah, totally. But with double A's.
Yeah, exactly. He's responsible for 15 countries, all of their intelligence cells. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a ton.
And so he would transmit all of this data back to Germany using Enigma-like encryption system.
Okay.
So between 1940 and 1944, she's still got this little tiny Coast Guard team, and they're working secretly under a code name. They're intercepting and decrypting thousands of messages from Becker's agents. And she identified not only the message content, but the operator's call signs, transmission schedules, signal locations.
Damn, she's good.
She took them down. She basically mapped the German intelligence infrastructure across the hemisphere.
Oh my God, that's so crazy.
Right? So her code cracking pushed the U.S. and allied governments to pressure Latin American countries to arrest these German agents. Like, shut down the radio stations. You got to cut their influence. Join up, get on our side. The most significant operation was the dismantling of Operation Bolivar, Germany's principal spy network in South America.
They named it for Simone Bolivar? Wow.
So 1944, thanks pretty much to her decryptions, the entire network gets rolled up. Dozens of German and local collaborators get arrested. Their communications channels totally wiped out. And her reports were sent directly to the White House, FBI, and British intelligence. And so, we associate the Enigma machine, the decoding machine, with the British at Bletchley Park. Elizabeth's team successfully broke simplified Enigma variants used by the German agents abroad.
Okay.
So she didn't have the full Enigma machine.
Yes, but she back-ended it off of the communications.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Her achievements were classified until the 90s.
The 90s.
Damn. And J. Edgar Hoover, he would go around like, the FBI broke the spy codes, but she was totally eliminated from the record.
Really?
Yeah, she was not put on there. And it wasn't until much later after her death that then they started going back and putting her name on things and
after
recognizing it. Yeah.
So she never got her flowers.
No, she didn't. So we present them to her now. So Velvalee's letters.
Right.
Back to Velvalee.
Okay.
Elizabeth and her crew determined that an open code was used for the letters. And they're probably like, this is stupid. This is the dumbest code I've ever seen. It's super obvious.
You guys are just distracted by the dolls.
Yeah, don't be distracted. So they're sharing information on the military, especially the ships of the Navy.
Okay.
The code referred to locations, conditions, repair status, and a lot of it had to do with the boats damaged at Pearl Harbor. So according to FBI records, Elizabeth's team, quote, concluded that the 3 Old English dolls left left at a, quote, wonderful doll hospital for repairs might well mean 3 warships being repaired at the West Coast Naval Shipyard. Fish nets meant submarine nets, and balloons referred to defense installations. That's kind of obvious. And about that Mr. Shaw, remember?
Yes.
In early 1942, the Japanese had to figure out how badly they'd rocked the American Pacific Fleet at Pearl Harbor.
Okay.
And so they also wanted to know, like, how far had we knocked them out? Like, were boats being repaired? If so, how fast were they doing this? The destroyer Shaw had its bow blown off in this huge explosion at Pearl Harbor, and it arrived in San Francisco about 2 weeks before the letter was sent.
Mm-hmm.
So just reporting out on the Shaw getting repaired. According to the New York Times, that letter about the hula skirt was determined to be a clear reference to a ship struck at Pearl Harbor, which, of course, they said, quote, this letter had been written a few days after the aircraft carrier USS Saratoga left Puget Sound for San Diego. Still another letter was turned over to the FBI by a Spokane, Washington woman, this one carrying a Seattle, Washington postmark. The letter referred to a, quote, German bisque doll dressed in a hula grass skirt, which was reported to be in Seattle for repairs scheduled for completion by the first week in February. A check by the FBI with naval authorities verified the conclusion that the doll referred to a warship which had been damaged at Pearl Harbor. The vessel was in Puget Sound Navy Yard for repairs at the time the letter was written.
I figured they wanted to know about those aircraft carriers because that was the early battle. The Pacific is
exactly. So FBI agents, they start digging into Velvalee's life. Mm-hmm. She'd been pretty consistently getting loans from banks and business associates in New York all the way up to like 1941. She was struggling. But by early 1943, she was known for prancing around town. She had like huge wads of $100 bills on her.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, and they tracked it down. 4 of the bills that she used in payments were traced by the FBI to Japanese official sources, which had received the money before the war. So we were tracking money that the Japanese were using before the war.
By serial number, we knew the money they were getting.
The tracking, and think about it, this is pre-computer tracking.
Yeah, you're doing this all by hand.
And so not only is that just so overwhelming when you think about how quickly the FBI was getting to people and all of this tracking, now all of the technology they have, like, forget about it. There's no privacy. There's no secrecy.
Oh, yeah. No, I always imagine I live in a fishbowl.
Exactly. And so they've been tracking this money from before the war. In early 42, she and her husband went on trips up and down the Pacific coast, and they hit up the same cities which the 4 other letters have been mailed from.
Okay.
And they stayed in hotels that had a common amenity, typewriters for guests to use in their rooms.
That's okay.
So the FBI goes out and they seized the typewriters at each location. And then they were able to link them to the coded letters. The labs were able to connect them.
Hell yeah.
So it's looking like curtains for old Velvalee.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of dead to rights.
Right. So let's take a break, and when we get back, we're going to see what J. Edgar's boys have up their sleeves.
Yeah.
Zaron.
Elizabeth.
Zaron.
By the way, I am loving this one. This is so fun. And I love also that without us communicating at all, we both picked World War II era stories this week.
Isn't that crazy?
It's just so bizarre.
It's that mood. It's that, we sync up like that.
We got a mental link there.
Our cycles sync a lot like that.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing and
letting me
being part of that moon cycle.
Thank you for opening your heart. So the FBI, right? They got all they need to bust Velvalee Dickinson. And they aren't busting her for white-collar crime. She's a spy.
Oh, yeah. No, this is treason.
During wartime.
Yeah.
This is big dog stuff.
They hang people for this.
Yes, they do. This is dangerous stuff. Zaron, close your eyes.
Oh, my eyes are closed.
I want you to picture it. It's January 1944, and you're a bank teller in New York City. It's wartime, and some days it feels like the world may even be ending. The whole world is at war, with fronts in Europe, the East, Africa, you name it. Your 2 brothers are serving, one in Europe, the other out in the Pacific. Every day you think of them. You worry about them. Your sister moved out west, and she's working in a shipbuilding facility. You never thought you'd see the day. Everything feels so uncertain, but you don't allow yourself to get overwhelmed or defeated. Gotta get hot, the posters say. You need to be strong for the boys out there fighting. There's no question we're the good guys, you think. If you're fighting fascists and fighting Nazis, you're the good guy. You always want to be anti-fascist. That's the American way. That's how you love this country. You think to yourself. Just then, a woman approaches your counter. Her face is pinched and she's tiny like a bird. Couldn't weigh more than 90 pounds or so. She's wearing a nice winter coat and smart glasses. She seems to be in her 50s, but you don't know. Some people are aging so quickly with the way things are. She asks to access her safe deposit box. You tell her you can help her with that, and you go to get the manager. As you walk from behind the counter and cross the floor to the manager's desk, you spot 3 men in suits standing near the door. They're fit and their suits are sharp. They don't exactly fit in, and you can't think of why. Then you remember your friend Judy. She was seeing a guy. He dressed just like that, clean cut and honorable. He was a G-man in the FBI. You tell the manager there's a customer wishing to access her safe deposit box. He nods, unlocks his desk drawer, pulls a ring of keys out, and then locks the drawer again. He stands and asks which customer. You point to the tiny woman waiting at your counter. He strides over and you follow, sneaking another look at the men by the door. They're whispering to each other now, and you would swear you saw your manager look over and give him a slight nod. Your manager approaches the customer, and you circle back around the counter to your station. You look up and see the men by the door dash over to your manager and the customer. "FBI, don't move!" one yells. A lady across the lobby shrieks. You knew it! Judy is gonna love this story. "Velvalee Dickinson, you're under arrest!" The customer spins around to face the agents and then leaps at them like a spider monkey. One of them grabs her, his large hands gripping her tiny upper arms. She lifts her legs up and begins to kick at the agents. She's spitting and swearing, and it's just the oddest thing you've ever seen. She manages to rip one of her arms from the agent holding onto her and takes a swipe at another agent with her fingernails. She draws blood across his cheek. You can see the anger rising in his face. He wants to smack her. But he's a gentleman. Gentlemen don't hit ladies. Besides, she's so tiny. It would be humiliating for him to take down a small woman like that. An agent is able to wrestle her into some handcuffs, and more agents appear and drag her away. You dash to the washroom to get the injured agent a cool, wet rag for his cheek. While you're gone, your manager lets the agents into the vault to look at the customer's safe deposit box. When you get back, they're all standing around the empty box. One agent whistles, and he flips through a huge stack of cash. You hand the injured agent the towel and return to your station. Maybe the world really is falling apart.
Wow.
So
she's like got the size and body type of a bird, but the heart of a house cat has been pissed off.
She fought them like crazy when they picked her up.
That's nuts.
Just
the clawing the face.
Yeah, she went crazy. So, but I mean, think about it. What she's up against. She knows she gets busted. This isn't like you were saying. This is treason.
Totally. You can be hung for it. But I mean, like, that's probably not the time. Like, I don't know. You're probably not going to get bail. But like, how are you going to fight your way out of like 3 G-men in a store?
She's a frightened animal.
Yeah, totally.
You know, that's like when animals get scared and you think, I swear to God, like you're not going to get out of this. Mm-hmm. She's not thinking. That was just pure fight or flight.
A friend of mine had a cat one time who, I had my skateboard over at their house, and the cat got their hand or their paw behind the wheel, stuck between the board and the wheel of the skateboard. Yeah. And so it would then tries to pull away, and the skateboard almost hits it. And then like I see this, so I try to go help the cat, and it freaks out on me. Yeah. I walked away looking like I'd gone through a paper shredder. We got the cat free, but that was like what I'm imagining.
And so there's no thinking going on. It's just pure instinct to like fight and escape. And so that money they found in the box, right?
Yeah.
$15,940. 2/3 of it was Federal Reserve notes that could be traced to the Japanese consulate. Wow. And so to do a little conversion for you.
Please, Elizabeth.
$15,940 is worth close to $300,000 today.
Ooh, buddy.
Yeah. So when she was interviewed, Velvalee told agents that the money in the safe deposit box was from insurance companies. She had a savings account and then the doll business. But then in another interview, she told him the money actually came from her late husband. Like he'd passed away at this point. And she said she found the money hidden in her husband's bed at the time of his death. She said that he hadn't told her where it came from, but she thought it might have come from the Japanese consulate in New York City. February 11th, 1944, she gets indicted by the federal grand jury in the Southern District of New York for violation of the censorship statutes.
Okay.
And that could get her like 10 years in prison, $10,000 fine.
Yeah, she's lucky.
Well, that was her first arraignment.
Oh.
And there she's described by the New York Times as having a, quote, tense, defiant manner, and that she, quote, demanded, who are all these people, when she found FBI men and reporters present in the courtroom. And then she pleaded not guilty. She got held in lieu of $25,000 bail.
But it feels like she's doing this not just for the money, but like she wants Japan to win.
It makes me think that.
I mean,
that,
like she really cared about the cause.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, she was so deep into the society of it, I suppose she got swayed.
Yeah.
The press were there and she yelled, no photographs. And the judge was like, okay, fine. No photographs.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But then she turned to the judge. She's like, can I bring my record player and my albums to my cell?
Why does
He's
she
like,
a DJ?
No, you may not. Ma'am.
Can I bring my crates?
Can I get my ones and twos? So the FBI, they continued the investigation. And then they had another indictment May 5th, 1944, this time on charges of violating the espionage statutes.
There you go.
The Registration Act of 1917 and the censorship statutes.
Okay.
So she again pleads not guilty. They continued that $25,000 bail. Now, both of the espionage counts carried the death penalty.
I was going to say, yeah, that's where she's dancing with
or prison terms up to 30 years. So it's no wonder she fought and scratched. Her trial was originally set for June 6th, 1944.
Whoa.
And it was postponed because of the excitement surrounding the D-Day invasion of Europe.
Yeah.
So by July 28th, though, things are cooling out. She gets described by the press as the war's #1 woman spy.
Wow.
She got woman spy, not lady spy. And she accepted a plea deal. She's like, fine.
Never going to let that go.
Well, no, never. So they dropped the espionage count.
Really?
If she would plead guilty to the censorship violations.
Huh.
And she had to furnish information in her possession concerning Japanese intelligence activities.
Okay, she's more valuable alive.
Right. Well, and then also, because the government was willing to deal because there was some question about whether her claims were true that it was her husband who was the actual spy.
Oh, so the sexism saving her.
Yeah, with him gone, like, who's to say?
Yeah.
And so the real big question, though, is why did the letters get bounced back to their phony senders?
I'm still hung up on that.
Well, it seems that the Japanese, unknown to Velvalee, deactivated the address in Buenos Aires that was used to receive these espionage reports. But she didn't know. She just kept sending them.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
It's just a paperwork error,
it was
essentially.
yeah, exactly.
They didn't update addresses.
Right. Or she didn't receive a message from them being like, stop sending them
This
here.
is like how I learned I just lost a Gmail account because I hadn't checked in for 2 years. And Gmail's like, yeah, that's, I hope you didn't want anything because you can't open that anymore.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, no, that's what happens. Like if you don't open a Gmail account for 2 years, apparently this is the new policy.
Yeah.
They just tell you it's deactivated. I'm willing to bet that they sent me another prior email about
and then you
this.
just did-
I ignored that.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
now they sent me the email that I did open, which is like, I hope you didn't have anything in there because you can't open it. We've deleted it. It's gone. It's unrecoverable. That's what
Well,
that's
if you
the term.
haven't looked at it for 2 years, you don't need it.
No, this isn't clothing.
Yes, it is.
Oh, no, I was bummed. But anyway, whatever.
So she told the FBI that the code to be used in the letters and the $25,000 in $100 bills had been passed to her husband by that naval attaché, Ichiro Yokoyama.
Yeah.
And that it all went down in the doll store. She's like, that's the scene of the crime.
Spotless the doll store.
The problem was that the FBI investigation discovered that Velvalee, like she knew Ichiro Yokoyama really well. Her husband had no idea who he was, never met him.
I was going to say, how hard would that be to prove? Probably
Yeah.
not hard.
And so they also unearthed medical records that showed that her husband was not of sound mind and body when the payment was supposed to have been made.
Oh.
So that there's no way he could have coordinated it. He couldn't have showed up. He was like fully in dementia at this point. And then they also spoke with the nurse and the maid employed in their house that were caring for Mr. Dickinson. And they both swore up and down there was no money hidden anywhere near or in his bed. Like we made the bed all the time.
Yeah.
There was nothing there. So she got sentenced on August 14th, 1944. She wore a black dress and hat, and she had these like white knit gloves. And at this point, she's down to like just under 90 pounds. Damn. She's so tiny. She cried and she begged and she pleaded for mercy from the court. She's like, I'm not a Japanese agent. It's all my husband's fault. I have no idea what those letters even mean. As the judge is like, too bad. She got the maximum sentence, 10 years in prison, $10,000 fine. So they sent her to the Reformatory for Women, Alderson, West Virginia.
Okay.
You know who else was up in there?
I don't know.
Tokyo Rose and Axis Sally, other traitors convicts.
I was going to say Tokyo Rose, but I didn't think she would have been caught by then.
Tokyo Rose and Axis Sally. Velvalee, she got paroled in 1951. She went back to New York. She got a job at Catholic Charities under the name Catherine Dickinson. And I'll give you one guess who gave her the job.
One guess who gave her the job. Oh, is it Friedman?
Eunice Kennedy.
Oh my goodness, of course, with the dolls and the Catholic.
Kennedy.
I should have.
So remember, they'd met back in the early doll days.
Yes.
They ran into each other at the prison when Eunice was there to research how to help female prisoners transition back into society after release.
Oh,
and then they hit it off all over again. And Velvalee even went to Eunice's wedding to Sergeant Shriver in 1953.
Crazy.
She gave him a monogrammed stationery set from Tiffany's. Isn't that wild?
Crazy.
So later on...
So she's like 2 degrees of separation from Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yes.
Because he was married to Maria Shriver, daughter of Sergeant and Eunice.
Velvalee moved to Cape Cod to work as Eunice's administrative assistant. And Eunice called her a, quote, remarkable secretary. Like, just took her to... So September of 1963...
Just don't piss her off.
No, yeah. September of 63, Eunice tried to get her a job at the U.S. Pavilion in the 1964 World's Fair in New York City. And I don't know if she was able to pull that off, but Velvalee did ask Eunice, quote, will a special clearance be necessary? I'm certain you realize why I asked this question of you. Like, she's not getting near anything sensitive. Yeah, we understand, Velvalee. We remember. So not much is known about her life after that. There are reports that she died in 1980, but nothing as to where or how, nothing in the papers. Okay. I'm not sure where the 1980 is coming from. Zaron, what's your ridiculous takeaway?
Oh, I mean, the Eunice Kennedy part, but that's kind of a recency effect. But that's just wild that it comes full circle. And she's like, hey, I've been doing this halfway house stuff, transition stuff. And Velvalee, we always hit it off. Remember the doll stuff we used to get back into?
God, the dolls were great.
Like, I'd like to make you my living doll that I get to play with and save. It's just crazy. But mostly I'm still hung up on Doll Hospital. Like, I know I got it wrong when you were talking about it, because like I was imagining like like, you know, where they play that it's a hospital and they're moving their dolls around, but actually it's just like where you repair broken dolls. All of doll culture is so weird to
really
me.
Strange.
And I'm not being judgmental in the least. I mean, like, rock on, do your doll thing. But like, I'm imagining people like making all the outfits, and then like you're talking to somebody who has had ventriloquist dolls and has had like sock puppets and like little wooden headed puppets that I would talk to my sister on road trips with. Like, so I'm nobody to sit here and act like I can't believe you got dolls. You know, I'm not being like that. But it's just, I'm just astounded by how humanity, we will find something we love and turn it into its own little world. I mean, it's a huge world where you can have like all the doll stuff, everything for humans, but for the dolls.
Yeah, we do that. We fixate on things and then turn it into a cottage industry.
Yeah, and turn it into, like, fill it in like a whole world. You know, we're just like a different level of the whole world. I'm sure they had little doll car mechanics and like little doll matchmaking services. Anyway, Elizabeth, what is your ridiculous takeaway?
I was thinking during this about not obviously having lived through World War II, but like thinking about life goes on and everything continues and people are traveling and working and doing all these things. But I will always remember asking my grandmother about it. You know, she was a young woman then.
Totally.
And she told me something that just has always stuck with me, is that we were never sure if the world was going to end. Was this it? When it was in like the most tenuous moments. And to have that kind of hanging over your head, and then how you handle those things. And I think that subsequent generations, we have this view of it from the movies and from TV of
the settled version.
Yeah,
like
what it was
people
like.
Have won, lost.
And you know, all this kind of bravery and stuff. But you had to have incredible bravery and sacrifice just in your day-to-day of what that must have felt like. And then you think too of like, here's Velvalee. She's connected to this Japanese community.
Yeah.
And we have 2 Japanese communities in California at that time. So you have the diplomats in San Francisco who are working against odds to the place where they are. And then you have all these Japanese Americans, some of them, from Japan, like immigrated in their lifetime and didn't speak English, but bulk of them, like
they're the
born
Nisei.
here,
They're the first generation.
Exactly. Yeah. And here, so she has this affinity for the culture. Well, which group are you going to associate with? And you have someone like Bob Fletcher who wound up saving farms because these were his neighbors and he loved them like he loved all of his neighbors.
Oh, yeah.
And Velvalee, she goes and betrays people, but yet those were her friends. Did she feel she was really betraying anything? Like,
I mean, you have to believe that she was the hero, not the villain of her own story. So she's thinking she's saving this great culture, these great people, the honorable thing. Like their doll making has got to be amazing.
They did. The Japanese know how to make a doll. But like was it driven primarily by the money?
Yeah.
And you look back at her family that, her parents scrimped and saved and sent her brother. And like, so what was the story there? I don't know. You want to know so much more about these people, but I kept thinking about how we have a vision in our lives about past times based solely on media. Like you were talking about Betty Grable and you see her paintings on the side of the plane and you see World War II movies for the most part until we get to more realistic ones later on about like, come on boys, let's do it. And they're ha ha ha. And it's terrifying what they're doing.
Yes.
And it's a monumental feat. And it's something that we need to continue to acknowledge as absolutely breathtaking and incredible in human endeavor. But I always try and think about what was it actually like in those times.
On the day-to-day level.
Yeah.
And you're just getting a cup of coffee and wondering, will tomorrow it all go? Right.
And do you buy into all the bad news you hear? Do you buy into the propaganda good news? Like somewhere in the middle?
How do you keep perspective?
Yeah. It's keeping
And
perspective.
also, how do you not just reject everything or become like some hedonist because the world's ending? You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to get mine while I can.
Exactly. So it's complex. Times weren't simple then. They were just as complex as now. I would like a talk back after that.
That would be delectable.
David?
Talkbacks. Oh my God, did he just say that?
OMG.
Hey, Rude Dudes. Alex here, longtime listener. And I was just listening the other day to the episode that you did where you referred to Penelope from Criminal Minds. And I feel you on the outfits, but what I think is more ridiculous is why she had to wear those in the first place. Which is because when she arrived on the set, they literally had no clothes in her size. They made her wear her own clothes.
Are you kidding me? I had no idea.
Boo that.
Well, first of all, those are your own clothes. That's what you show up. But aside from that.
Well, yeah. But Alex, thank you for letting us know.
I love behind the scenes stuff like that.
Now I love her clothes.
That's wild.
Now I'm going to always defend her.
Because it doesn't fit in with anything else anyone wears on that show.
Yeah, I thought it was some writer's idea of like...
That's what I thought of, like, oh, she's this zany hacker. No, instead, she's left behind by the industry. Fantastic.
Respect to her.
Oh, God.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you for that. That's it for today. You can find us online at ridiculouscrime.com. We're also at Ridiculous Crime on both Blue Sky and Instagram, and on YouTube at Ridiculous Crime Pod. Email us at ridiculouscrime@gmail.com. Leave a talkback on the iHeart app if you have any other cool behind-the-scenes knowledge about Criminal Minds or any other show. Please leave it. Reach out. Ridiculous Crime is hosted by Elizabeth Dutton and Zaron Burnett. Produced and edited by Antiques Roadshow's resident doll expert, Dave Kustin. Starring Annalise Rutger as Judith. Research is by committed anti-fascist Marissa Brown and Jabari Davis. The theme song is by Eunice Kennedy Shriver's Pool Boys, Thomas Lee and Travis Dutton. Host wardrobe is provided by Botany 500. Guest hair and makeup by Sparkleshot and Mr. Andre. Executive producers are FBI Ovaltine Secret Code Ring Task Force members Ben Bolin and Noel Brown.
Ridiculous crime.
Say it one more time.
Ridiculous crime.
Ridiculous Crime is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.